not everybody wants to be a millionaire, okay? And that's fine, because if you don't want to be a millionaire, you're probably going to be overly concerned about every single person and every single thing and try to make sure that you're a people pleaser to everybody. But nobody gets there by doing that. You listen to Apple's Here's to the Crazy Ones, right? Welcome to another episode of Rags the Rich's Secrets. Here's the big question. How can you tell if you have the temperament of the top 1% to become a millionaire? In short, I have a name for this. It's called the alpha hammer. So why alpha hammer? What is it about an alpha hammer that would be kind of the defining quality, how you can tell if you've got those skill sets in the top 1%? What we're gonna go through today is the 3 elements, the 3 secrets, the 3 things that you need to know, because everybody that I've seen has these characteristics. In fact, I read this book right here. I mentioned I was gonna talk to you about this today. This is a book by Chet Holmes. It's called The Ultimate Sales Machine. He worked for Charlie Munger. He made Charlie Munger's business explode. And in here he talked about, or he hinted about, these 3 characteristics. What I thought I'd do today is I would do a deeper dive into helping you be able to see these characteristics. And once I point it out, you'll go, aha, I actually have the ability to actually be in that top 1% of millionaires. And so let's just let's start diving in and breaking it down. So 1, an alpha. You gotta be an alpha. What do I mean by being an alpha? You can't get there if you've never discovered actually how to lead. You know what I mean? How many people do you know that's like, I'm a beta, and as they operate in the role of a beta, they're actually the leader and they've actually make it to the top? Like your chances of making there as a beta is super slim. So what you've got to come to the grips of is you've got to find a way, or you've got to discover that you're an alpha and that you lead. Now, you might be working at a job. I was working at a job when I used to work at Raytheon Missile Systems. I had a boss that said to me, he was like, Mike, he goes, I'm not entirely sure what to do with you. You're different than the other people that fit inside our mold. And kind of what it was is I would say, hey, here's our business strategy. This is what we're doing. We've got all these different types of missiles. I'll give you an example. We've got all these missiles. And here's the deal, like as a weapon manufacturer, you want to be able to sell more and more weapons. That's how you scale your business, and that's how you generate more wealth. And I said to him, I said, we've got these missiles that are actually starting to age. Why don't we take them to a buyback program and buy them all back from the US government? Take these assets and then let's go and sell them to like 2nd and 3rd world countries that want it, but they can't really afford the greatest tech. And that way we can do a block change and be able to sell them a better missile. And so we're going to do an exchange program. It's kind of like what Apple does with the iPhone. They come out with iPhone 13. Well, now what they're going to do is they're going to try to help you trade up to this next iPhone. And they didn't do that in the missile manufacturing place. And I said, this is what we should do. And I laid it out and they're like, well, how about that? Interesting idea. And I've laid out several different ones like that. And all I'm pointing out here is if you're in the place where you're constantly thinking of how could this be better? How could this be improved? How could I lead? How could I take charge? How could I do these things? Then you are in the group of the 1%. If they're missing the skill, they have no chance. Secret number 2, I call it a hammer. You gotta be a hammer. That's why you're gonna see in my logos and stuff, I've got an alpha hammer. Why? Because this actually symbolizes it. What do I mean by a hammer? When you think of a hammer, you take a hammer and you hammer a nail. You hit it. You hit it and you make whatever it is comply till it does the thing that you need to do. He calls it pig-headed determinists. Inside, Chet Holmes refers to it as pig-headed determinists. But you've got to be able to take and to hammer and to hit something hard enough until it can succeed. And I mentioned what happened to me last year. My company, my business generated $1.8 million in sales. So spectacular year. My fulfillment partner struggled to actually fulfill all of the sales that I made. $475,000 of my sales actually went unfulfilled. So the things I started looking at is, as a hammer, I've got to figure out how to get stuff done. And so the next thing I did is I went to my partner and I said, look, I am now taking over this section of your operations. I will now handle all this. So I started saying, what is it that I can do that can fix this thing? And you just keep hitting it and you hit it until you figure out how to solve the problem. So that's what I did, is I took over doing the engineering. I took over the design. I actually took over the permitting. I actually took over all of that element of operations so that I could get stuff done. And that's what a hammer does. When you think of a hammer, you got to think of somebody that gets stuff done. You will never meet anybody that joins the Millionaire Club that did not have the ability to get stuff done. You see what I'm saying so far? Like, people are not going to like you. And this is where you got to start feeling good about yourself. Like, a hammer is not necessarily a people pleaser. A hammer is not necessarily somebody always likes. It's not necessarily the most suave, most characteristics. Like, if you say, like, Mike, you know, I'm like, I just don't always seem to know how to get along and to work with people and to cooperate. I hear you. Like, it would be ideal if you knew how to do it. But what you got to discover, or you understand, is you're going to be surrounded and you're going to be walking among a bunch of B and C and D and E players in the marketplace. They don't like alpha hammers. They don't like alphas. They don't like hammers. They don't like people that come in swinging and start making stuff done. You take and you stop and you're like, oh, I love Elon Musk. I love the stuff that he does, right? Bro, I'm telling you, he's a hammer. He takes a thing and he hits a thing and he hits a thing until it submits. And once it submits, that's where he finds his breakthrough. He doesn't surrender. And it's pig-headed determinists. People didn't necessarily like him. Like, near as I could tell, some of his wives didn't like him either. And you just got to be okay with that. You're not going to be able to please everybody. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire. Okay, and that's fine, because if you don't want to be a millionaire, you're probably going to be overly concerned about every single person and every single thing and trying to make sure that you're a people pleaser to everybody. But nobody gets there by doing that. You listen to Apple's Here's to the Crazy Ones, right? The 1% that they were crazy enough to do stuff that not everybody liked. And he said you can ignore them, you can hate them, you can do anything, but he says, but the one thing you cannot do is you cannot ignore them, because they take out the hammer and they start hitting a thing until it gets beat into submission. I actually worked with a plumber one time, and he goes, Mike, he goes, you know what we do as plumbers? And I was like, what? We were trying to install a tub, and he goes, either it fits or you make it fit, but you're gonna make it fit. And he hits it and he forces the thing to take and to do the thing it's supposed to do. Steve Jobs said, he says, you know, if you push life hard enough, he goes, eventually you're gonna discover that something is going to come out the other side. But it's hard. You're going to have to stay at it, and it's hard. But if you hit it long enough, something will come out the other side. Secret number 3 is accountability. This one, as soon as I point this out to you, as soon as I peel back this onion and you start understanding and see it, you'll be like, I get it. I have a friend, he has a Lamborghini. And so he was actually driving up to Salt Lake to a Utah Jazz game. And when he was driving to Salt Lake, somebody rear-ended his Lamborghini. And instead of saying, that guy's at fault, which that guy was at fault, he said, what did I do to contribute to this accident? Was I too close to the car in front of me? Was I this? Was I that? What could I have done knowing that the guy behind me is too close, that I would not have had that accident? And his conclusion is I was driving too close. And what it means is, if I would have not been as close, I could have slowed down, giving the person behind me more time to be able to respond, so they actually did not rear end me. That's what he was talking about, accountability, level 3 accountability. You're gonna see, like, I run into this with my fulfillment partner. I sent him an email and I said, okay, here's the things that we need to get done. They're like, oh, but we can't do that because it's not my job, or I can't do that because, and they start whining and making excuses. Like, you can be a whiner, you can be a winner, but you can't be both. You peel back the onion and you ask yourself, what level of accountability do you live in? Well, another one of my friends, he went down to Lake Powell. When he was down there at Lake Powell, he was going to entertain a whole bunch of people, like some of his higher end clients. So he had this really cool golf cart. Everything was decked out. It was fancy. It looked really cool, right? He was going to create a very good experience. And a guy that works for him smashed the golf cart. like just jacked up the entire axle, whole axle out of the back end of this thing broke because he had rounded a corner too tight, hooked the wheel, boom. All of a sudden he busted this thing. And my friend, he's like, gosh, dang it. He was like livid, right? So he called his office and he said, hey, he goes, I need this part to be able to fix this thing. And none of the places that close by down at Lake Powell actually had this part. And the guy that worked for him in his office had worked for him long enough to know that if my friend says, his name's Jason, if Jason says, I want this thing and I want to solve it, like let him make the decision on whether or not he wants to solve it. Think about it. If you were to be offered $10 million to get that part he needed and get it overnighted to him so that he had it the next day, could you find a way? You could, right? See, not everybody's thinking in that terms. And the big question he had in his mind is not, can it be done? The big question is what is it going to cost me? Let me bring the problem to my side of the equation, because I already know, like, you're going to say it can't be done. And the reason it probably can't be done is because, like, you are the repair shop, you're definitely not going to go drive all night up to this place to get this part, drive all the way back so that it can be fixed in the morning. Like, in your mind, it can't be done. What it means is you didn't ask the customer, would you be willing to pay $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 for this part? Like, how much would you be willing to pay for this? And then I'll determine if I want to help, if it's worth it to me to solve that particular problem. And so that's what happened. This guy who worked for him, knowing that Jason's belief system is like that, he started making phone calls, and he found somebody who had the part. And so then what he did is he said, Jason, I've identified the part. We know where it's at. It's within X number of hours, 4 hours, something like that, I think is what he had said. And it could actually be taken to your particular location. So we can take and bring it down, okay? Then what he went back to is then Jason went back to the repair shop, said, hey, we found the part. Can you go get it and bring it back? The guy's like, no, we can't do that. He goes, everybody's gone home for the day. And he goes, well, how much would it cost somebody to be willing to drive out there, get the thing, and then to bring it back? And he's like, what is it? Is it like $100? Is it $200? What is it? And basically what it came back is one of the employees, so the guy called up his employee, said, hey, I got a customer that really wants this part and he's willing to pay for it. What would it cost for you to be willing to go up there and get it? And the guy goes, for $400, I'll drive all the way up there, clear out of my way, get the part, come back, I will make the repair. $400 later, he's got the part he needs plus the labor to fix it. He's now in business, okay? That's what it was. I ran into this very thing yesterday, okay? Very thing yesterday. I told you I'm up to $475,000 from last year of unfulfilled sales. They actually haven't even finished completing or installing all of my cells. I actually went up there. Now I keep driving up to the location to say, hey, partner, where are we at on this? Partner, where are we at on this? I went up there and I scheduled out every single one of my remaining projects to actually get installed. You know, and you might say, hey, Mike, that's not your job to go up there and to schedule it. That's not your job to handle operations. That's not your job to pay for permits. That's not your job to do engineering. That's not your job. Like, all of these things, I understand they're not my job. But if you ask me what's important, the important thing to me is the outcome. I have my eye on the outcome. What is it that I will force? What is it that I will make happen? And I understand that, like, on the other side of the equation, they don't want to own the problem. I understand that. I recognize B's, C's, and D players. I recognize it. Like, that's where they're at. But that doesn't mean that I will drop to their level and play at a B and a C and a D. This is what you discover. You're an alpha, okay? And you have the characteristics. You just look inside yourself and ask yourself, do you have the characteristics? Do you like to lead? Are you willing to take charge? 2, are you willing to hit this thing with a hammer? Like, hit it till it succeeds, okay? And then are you gonna live in a world of accountability where no matter what, you're gonna take and make something happen. You will grab the hammer, you will force it. They called Steve Jobs, he has a reality distortion field, or he bends reality around him. Things that everybody else thought couldn't be done became done. And then when you discover this, you're probably going to discover that you're going to be in business for yourself, because you're going to get tied up in organizations where you're going to be surrounded by people who don't care to lead, who don't care to get stuff done, who don't live in a world of accountability. And you will discover that for you to take and to break free and to get to that next level, you have got to surround yourself and build something that actually can take you and actually can tap your skills. So feel comfort in knowing not everybody's gonna like you. Like, not everybody's gonna like you. Just feel good that anytime you make a dent in the universe, somebody's gonna be happy and somebody's gonna be pissed. Like, you're not gonna satisfy them all. You just gotta be okay with that, okay? You take Christ he did more for anybody than anybody. Yet you got people that love him and you got people that hate him. Like, if he can't win, who can win, right? You see what I'm saying? You got Elon Musk that is changing the world. He's changing it by bringing electric vehicles. Boy, that guy is doing things that are so amazing, and not everybody appreciates it. Not everybody likes Steve Jobs, okay? He created one of the most valuable companies in the entire world. It's so valuable, and the things that he put in place is so valuable that Tim Cook, I don't know that he's actually innovating anything. But what he is doing is he's taking the strategy that Steve Jobs did and he's enhancing it, he's improving it. The iPhone has only gotten better since the one that Steve Jobs did, but he didn't reinvent a new iPhone. You see what I'm saying? But he's improved upon it, therefore creating a phenomenally successful business. So don't beat yourself up, okay? Don't beat yourself up. Not everybody's gonna like you. You're okay. If you're 1% crazy, that's okay. Not everybody thinks that the crazy ones are like, not everybody likes the crazy ones. But the thing is they will change the world. So keep it simple. I call them an alpha hammer. If you're an alpha hammer, hit me up. I surround myself and associate with alpha hammers. Like, if you're not an alpha hammer, we don't need to associate, okay? I connect and I want to associate and be around alpha hammers, people who are willing to get stuff done. In fact, my solar business on my franchises and stuff, like, the people that are gonna succeed at that, like, if you say, Mike, I'm looking for an opportunity where I can step out into the world and crush it, I've got that opportunity for you. But the only person that's gonna succeed in that opportunity is somebody that's an alpha, who's willing to step up to take a lead. You gotta be a hammer. You gotta hit this thing, and it will work, okay? I've done it over and over and over again. It will work, okay? You hit it, but then you live in a world of accountability. When you do that, you'll see the breakthrough. Like, my franchise is a very hands-on, it's a very high contact opportunity, okay? Like, I already know that you can hit the millions. It's easy. I've already done it multiple times, okay? That's easy. If you want an opportunity where you can be hands-off because you're already working on, let's say you've already got your alpha business set up, you're out there slaying, crushing it, but you're like, I need another stream of income because I live in the world of I need passive income. Like, nobody's gonna get there if they don't create an environment where passive income takes place. Then you go to my Alpha Wealth Secrets, where you get yourself an Amazon store, and we do absolutely everything to help you on that store. We source products, we select products, we source them, we put them in the store, we do the marketing, do the advertising. We do everything for you so that you don't have to worry about any of it. We show you your sales daily. You get a check every 2 weeks from your store and it sells. So easy peasy. Okay, that's a wrap. The wrap on, do you have the ability to be a millionaire? Are you a part of the 1% crazy that has the skill set to do it? I believe you are, and I wish you the best, and we will talk tomorrow.